We've talked a lot about characters falling in love on this channel. Romantic chemistry, enemies to lovers romance, best friends to lovers romance, all the romance topics. But what about characters falling out of love with each other? How do you write this transition in such a way that feels natural and believable and earned and actually contributes to their character growth? Falling out of love isn't always a bad thing. Sometimes it means one character emotionally outgrows their partner, or sparks fly with another character that gives them a chance at love somewhere else.
I'm miraculously done being in love with you!
Whatever the case for your characters and your story, this video is going to cover the top 4 reasons that your characters might fall out of love with each other and how to make this transition feel earned and realistic, with story examples to help you visualize what this looks like in action. Let's go.
Why does your story matter? Good question. What if I told you that there's a science behind every great story? I don't just teach you how to write. I teach you how to change the world with your story and make your author dreams come true.
Before we get into this discussion, I just want to ask you to take a quick second to hit the subscribe button below this video. Not only does it help my content rise to the top, but it ensures that you never miss a new video or live training or special event from me as we explore writing and publishing together. So hit the subscribe button below and join the community. Number 1 reason for your characters to fall out of love with each other in a realistic way is loss of passion. Like we've discussed in previous videos on writing romantic chemistry, this is that magic ingredient that makes 2 characters extremely shippable. That spark, that chemistry that makes a fictional couple just explosively good together. Sometimes passion can even express itself through rivalry and competition and arguments and savage banter, as seen in a lot of enemies to lovers romances.
I think you discover a lot of things if you really knew me.
If I really knew you, I know what I would find. Instead of a brain, a cash register. Instead of a heart, a bottom line.
Passion, even when misguided, is a sure sign of something deeper happening beneath the surface in this relationship. When 2 characters fall out of love with each other, it could be due to a lack of passion or a loss of passion over time. A loss of that magic, that spark, that chemistry that maybe originally brought them together, but they just don't have it anymore. You always know that a fictional couple has lost their passion when they are better off as friends than they are as romantic interests. A good example of this can be found in one of my favorite rom-coms, You've Got Mail, with the relationship between protagonist Kathleen and her boyfriend Frank. The 2 of them are actually really good together. They're compatible, intellectual, supportive of each other's dreams, and have kind of an old married couple energy. But as Kathleen discovers throughout the course of the movie, she doesn't actually love Frank, and he doesn't love her.
You don't love me. Me either.
You don't love me?
No.
But we're so right for each other.
I know.
They're both really good together, but more as best friends than lovers. The relationship doesn't end on a hostile note, but it does contribute to Kathleen's character growth as she realizes that she wants more out of a relationship than just companionship. Reason number 2 for your characters to fall out of love with each other is a lack of compatibility. As in, they're just too different from each other. They don't have enough of the same goals and interests, and they're just not on the same path, so to speak. This happens so often in real life. You've probably seen this with a lot of people that you've known, maybe even yourself. If you meet somebody that you have like this instant attraction to and chemistry and passion with maybe, but you ultimately don't have like that forever kind of love and companionship and compatibility. Same with fictional couples, okay? You might have a fun, exciting relationship between these 2 characters, but at the end of the day, could they last forever? Or are they just fundamentally not alike enough to be compatible for years and years and years to come? That's why oftentimes in the real world, when you don't have that compatibility and being on the same path, a relationship will fall apart eventually. You can find a good example of this in the movie Letters to Juliet. Sophie and Victor seem to be the perfect couple. She's a writer, he owns a restaurant, and the premise of the story brings them to Verona, Italy for a romantic pre-honeymoon vacation. The only problem is that they barely spend any time together.
This isn't a good time because I'm in the middle of something.
It's not supposed to be that way. We're supposed to want to be with each other all the time.
Victor wants to spend all his time finding suppliers for his new restaurant, and Sophie wants to go sightseeing. This lack of compatibility kind of sparks the whole plot of the movie, which sends Sophie on a whirlwind tour of Italy searching for the long-lost lover of her new friend Claire, a quest which flings her into an unexpected romantic relationship with Claire's grumpy but hot grandson Charlie. Sophie's aha moment at the end of the film leads her to the realization that she's fallen in love with Charlie and out of love with her fiancé.
We went on like a honeymoon, and we didn't mind being apart from each other.
This is where.
I know, but I love who you are. But I've changed.
Third reason for your characters to fall out of love with each other is that sparks fly with another character. Nothing will make your character realize they are actually not in love with their current romantic interest, like experiencing romantic sparks flying with another character that they meet. This can be kind of a fun plot device in romance because it completely throws your character's world off balance and forces them to face a new obstacle, a new conflict in their path that they did not anticipate. Romantic chemistry can be a very inconvenient thing that throws your character's world off kilter. And when it happens to a character who is already supposed to be in love with somebody else, let's just say things get complicated. You see this with Joe and Kathleen in You've Got Mail, as well as Sophie and Charlie in Letters to Juliet, but you also see this romance device in the film Serendipity. Sarah and Jonathan meet each other under strangely serendipitous circumstances one night in New York City and vow to leave it up to fate whether they are destined to meet again and be together.
That was an accident. Write that down again, please.
Although they're both in romantic relationships with other people, they can't deny the fact that there's a special spark between them, something that feels like destiny.
Why would you risk your relationship with Hallie just to search for some pipe dream?
I'm staring into the sky thinking about this mystery guy I met 1.5 million hours ago.
Through a series of hilariously near encounters and bad timing, we watch Jonathan and Sarah struggle to give fate a helping hand by finding their way back to each other. We can clearly see that something is missing in their other relationships, and that missing ingredient, that spark of magic, is what they share with each other. And finally, reason number 4 for your characters to fall out of love: one character sees their lover's true colors. Now, this doesn't have to be as drastic as like finding out that your partner is secretly a serial killer. It could be something way more ordinary and simple, like seeing this person in a new light. A light that you have been unconsciously refusing to see this person in because you have been holding on to this rose-tinted image of them. And you're actually more in love with the concept of who you think they are than who they actually are. So you might have two characters who seem like they're madly in love with each other and they have passion and they have chemistry and they have compatibility, but one character is not quite what they seem. This is why toxic relationships are so toxic, because we can hardly ever, rarely ever, see how toxic the toxic person really is. And if your character ends up in love with this toxic person, it's probably because they are a master manipulator. Oftentimes these people are narcissists. They know how to sweet talk and connive their way into somebody's affections while subtly disrespecting them, which makes for a suffocating kind of love where one person does nothing but give and the other person does nothing but take. There's a great example of this in the movie The Holiday. Iris is a society columnist for the Daily Telegraph in London and is obsessively in love with her ex-boyfriend Jasper, even though he cheated on her and is currently in a relationship. Jasper has been keeping Iris close under the guise of remaining friends. When he announces his engagement at the company Christmas party, Iris is devastated. This inciting incident drives Iris to take a holiday to California, swapping houses with a similarly heartbroken woman halfway across the world. Iris begins to flourish with her newfound independence, meeting new people and becoming the leading lady of her own story. But we see she's still emotionally attached to Jasper, who keeps stringing her along by a thread. Eventually, when he's afraid of finally losing her interest, Jasper surprises Iris by showing up at the house in California, wanting to reignite their romance. But when he reveals that he is still engaged, Iris kicks him out.
It's over. This twisted, toxic thing between us is finally finished. I'm miraculously done being in love with you.
This is a significant moment for Iris because she's had to go through a transformation in order to emotionally outgrow Jasper and come to see his true colors, realizing her own self-worth. It's her aha moment, and even though she's closing a door on a relationship she held dear, we can see that this is actually a moment of triumph and proof that she's changed as a result of her journey. Okay, boom, that's it. 4 really solid ways to make your characters fall out of love with each other in a way that feels believable and earned and realistic and actually contributes to their character growth. If you want to take your romance writing to the next level, I invite you to check out my live training, How to Write Swoon-Worthy Romantic Chemistry. In this training, we broke down all the different intricate aspects of writing romance and how to make a relationship feel not just believable and cute and warm and fuzzy, but also to make it feel richly layered and lived in so that these characters feel like real people that you can root for. People who have always existed, and you are just now walking into this relationship, into this story. And we cover so many different aspects of writing romance in that training. I think you'll love it. I think you'll get a lot of value out of it. And actually, I have several trainings in my vault of live trainings. There's also a training on writing best friends to lovers romance, enemies to lovers romance, and so much more. So check that out, link below this video. And while you're down there, comment and let me know what is your favorite example of 2 characters falling out of love with each other. I would love to hear from you, and smash that like button if you liked this video, and be sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, because I post writing videos every single Wednesday, and I would love to have you here in the community. Until next week, my friend, rock on.